McCormick here with the Cedar City Chamber of Commerce. We're doing our first Facebook Live, and today we have Mike Green with Iron Forge Media. We want to welcome Mike Green and thank him for being here. Mike Green has done some work with the Chamber in the past. He is an expert in marketing, and we're going to turn it over to Mike to help us learn more about marketing. Mike.
Perfect. Thanks, Chris. Okay, I'm excited to be here today. I love the Chamber of Commerce. I love Chris. I enjoy working with it. I'm glad to be back in Cedar City. Today I want to talk about a few things that are very specific to successful business in Cedar City. Now, there's a lot of things out there you can find out things about marketing in a million different books at the bookstore, but I want to talk specifically about Cedar City and the businesses that are here, how they can find customers, how they can be successful as business owners, how they can better market their product and their business so that they have the success that they're after. Now, we're all very passionate as business owners. We're very, very passionate about what we do, and we want to communicate that to our potential customers, but we have to engage them. And so today I want to talk about 3 keys that, in my opinion, after marketing in Southern Utah for over 20 years, my opinion, these are the 3 things that you need to know as a business to be successful. So the first key that I want to talk about is know your market. You have got to know your market. And so within knowing your market, there's actually 3 elements that I want you to focus on and really, really target in on and ask yourself some really personal questions to say, do I really know these 3 things about my market, about my customer? I've been shocked after working with many, many different businesses throughout the years, how many people really don't know the answers to these questions. So the very first thing you need to know is your geography. Now, for the purpose of this particular training, we all know our geography pretty well. We know we're within Cedar City. Maybe your product goes down to St. George. Maybe your product goes up to Kanab, maybe out to Beaver. But you need to know what the geography is that is going to be relevant to your particular customer base and where your customers are at. Now, this is also included for e-commerce businesses, the ones that are targeting people outside of Cedar City. Now, people ask, Mike, how do I know the geography of my customer if I'm a e-commerce business or if I'm do all my business online? Google Analytics. That's how you see who the geography is of your particular client base. So that's the number one under know your market, is make sure that you understand the geography of your target. So the second thing is demographics. What are the demographics? And I would ask you, what are the demographics of Cedar City? I have a lot of people that say, when I ask them, who are you targeting? And they say, oh, I'll sell to anybody. And I say, no, not who you'll sell to, but because of course you'll sell to anybody, but who are you specifically targeting in your marketing? Do males buy differently than females? Do old people buy differently than young people? Do rich people buy differently than poor people? Do immigrants buy differently than someone that's never left Utah? Of course they do. And so by understanding the demographics of Cedar City, of your target market, you can better develop a marketing strategy, a marketing message that's going to speak specifically to those people. So let me just kind of throw a few numbers out at you about Cedar City specifically. So if I were to drop a pin right in the middle of town and draw a 15-minute drive time radius around that pin, there's just under 40,000 people that live within that demographic. Now, of that, on average, the household size is just over, it's 3.01 people per household. About 50% of those people are homeowners and 50% of those people are home renters. Now, why is that important? Does a homeowner buy differently than a home renter? I have a lot of businesses that I help, they say, oh, there's a high renter market here. That must not be good, and that's definitely not the case. But we do know that renters churn on a more consistent basis, and so we need to make sure that we're targeting and marketing and have a well-funded marketing plan that's going to hit them every 18 months because we have them that are churning from house to house. And so we want to make sure that that's the case. Okay, so the next thing is that there's about 50% that are male and about 50% that are female. There's just over 8% of the population has a Hispanic origin. So that's really important to note as well. The last one that I'll note is about 25% of the Cedar City population works a blue-collar career. And so, again, why is that important? Do people that work different kind of industries and different kind of careers buy differently? They certainly do. So that's the second part of knowing your market, is understanding the demographics. So the third part, and to be honest with you, is the secret to marketing successfully. It doesn't matter what kind of business you're in, but it's understanding the psychographics. Psychographics. My mom thinks I'm really smart every time I say that word. You've got to understand the psychographics. Understanding the psychographics means that geography is where they are, and demography is who they are. Psychographics is why they are who they are. Why are they buying in a certain way? What's motivating them? What drives them as an individual? So, as an example, as a demographer and as someone that's looking at the psychography of a big group of people, it's broken into about 100 different profiles across the country. And a good example, and two profiles that are not used anymore, is one that was called the Leave It to Beavers, and the other one that was called the Shotguns and Pickup Trucks. Now, just by those titles, you probably have a pretty good idea what these profiles are. What did Ward Cleaver do for a living? Well, he worked some kind of an insurance job or something, a 9 to 5. He came home, had a fine whiskey or whatever he drank at night. But what does the Shotguns and Pickup Trucks do? Right? Probably works a blue-collar job. Probably it does something different on the weekend than what Ward Cleaver did. But interestingly enough, they make the same amount of money. They have about the same household size, and they have about the same outlook on the same age as far as where they're at. And so if I just looked at the demographics and saw, I see somebody that makes about $50,000 a year, and they have a household about 3.1 people per household, I might market to them a specific way. But if I look at the psychography, I'm probably going to market and message differently to Ward Cleaver than I am to Bubba at the Shotguns and Pickup Trucks. Am I right? It's absolutely the case. And I've seen it time and time again. When you can really dial in to the psychographics of your particular profile in your town, in your market, when you understand what motivates them, what drives them to action, what creates that buying experience and buying environment, when you understand that, now you can develop a stellar marketing campaign and one that you can expect some conversion. So let me share what the 3 top psychographic segments are for Cedar City. Again, this is looking at that 15-minute drive time radius around the center of the city. So the very number one is called Middleburg. Middleburg has an average age of about 35. They have an average household size of, of about 2.5. They make about $55,000 a year. And what's important to Middleburg? Faith, family, a country. Those are the things that are important to Middleburg. They're do-it-yourselfers. They're people that are going to do something, try to do it themselves until it's an emergency, and then they'll call a professional. They're people that will be very, very tech savvy. So they're going to be highly reliant on reviews, public reputation, word of mouth from other people. That's what's going to really motivate them to action. So if you want to target the largest psychographic segment in Cedar City, if you're a business that relies on Cedar City to pay your bills for your company, what are you going to do? You've got a message to meet the Middleburg population. You've got a message to that particular group so that you know that you're going to be able to get a high conversion. Okay, so the second highest psychographic segment within Cedar City is called college towns. Now, just by saying college towns, and I'm sorry I'm sweating like a pig here, Chris, might be a little warm. The second largest segment being that college towns, and probably something comes to mind. A little bit younger, maybe single, maybe just married, maybe they have a kid or a kid on the way, or maybe they don't have any kids yet. Probably don't make a lot of money quite yet. Probably are just kind of on the up and going, and they may just be here in Cedar City temporarily. And so they're probably not going to make a really large purchase while they're here in Cedar City. And so if I'm wanting them to buy a car or get some major dental work done or something that's going to cost a lot of money, chances are they're going to go back home where they plan on ending up or where they grew up, and they're going to go see the family doctor. They're going to go see the family car dealer and buy the car from them. And so if I'm wanting them to make a big purchase, I'm probably not going to target the college town group. I'm going to target the Middleburg group, because that's the group that's probably going to be more successful. My conversion will be higher as a business, as a marketer. And so the third highest psychographic segment, and this one is really, really interesting. And again, we're talking about almost 10% of the Cedar City population, and that's called Metro Fusion. And what Metro Fusion is, are people that have come to Utah from another country. Now, it might be Mexico, it might be Central America, it might be somewhere in Europe, but it's a fusion of all these different nationalities. And there's a couple of things that motivate this particular group. They're a group of people that are not making a lot of money yet. They're making a little bit more, surprisingly, than the college towns, but they're not making quite a lot of money yet. They're trying to get established. They're trying to get their feet under them. They're trying to find whether they fit in Cedar City or Salt Lake or Denver or New York City, but they're trying to establish where they're going to be in their life. The last thing is that they'll typically spend a lot of money on fitting in and looking and feeling American. They'll spend more money than what the typical group or other psychographic group will spend in order to reach that. And so if you're interested in reaching that particular group and selling to that particular group, then you need to market appropriately. Now, there's 10,000 other bullet points under each of those psychographic segments that we could go over. And if you're developing a marketing strategy for your business, and that's something you probably ought to look at, is how well aligned is your business at these particular psychographic segments. Again, it's not who you'll sell to, because of course you'll sell to anybody that has money in hand. It's who are you targeting as a business? Who are you targeting as your marketing, your strategy? Who is it that you want to drive them down the marketing funnel and down the path to actually purchase the product that you want to see and want to sell in your place? Okay, so the next step, the next key from my experience in southern Utah is knowing is numbers that are tracked are numbers that can be improved. And so the second is numbers. I'm shocked. I am absolutely shocked when I talk to business owners, especially ones that have been in business for a very long time, and they come to me and they say, Mike, we need to take the next step. We need to take the next level as our company. We need to grow. We need to find a new market. And I ask them, well, tell me about your numbers. How many people are going to your website? How many people have walked in through your storefront this month? Blank stares. I don't get any answer back. It's shocking to me that you don't know the numbers. And so the first element in knowing your numbers, again, if you're a business owner, if you're a manager, if you're a marketer, oh my gosh, if you're a marketer, you've got to know your numbers. And the first element to that is what I call the key performance indicators. And it's not me just calling it. The KPIs is something that you have got to know as a business. Now, KPIs are different and customized to whatever your business is. But you as a business owner have to really sink into what is it that drives somebody to buy my product? How is it that I connect them to my passion as a business owner? How do I really get them to go towards and closer to that sell? Do they have to walk in through my storefront? Do they need to see a newsletter that I send out? Do they need to hear an ad on the radio? What is it that motivates them to do that? And then I need to be able to assign a key performance indicator to that particular thing, and I need to track that on a consistent basis. Now, the world that we live in, a world of internet sites and of social media and all these different things, it's so much easier now to track the KPIs than what it was just a short time ago. It's critical, absolutely critical, that you develop the KPIs. So I would say, on average, the most common KPIs are new leads coming through your business. How many new leads are you actually getting? Is that through a phone call? Is that through a form that was filled out on your website? How many people are actually reaching through your storefront? How many people actually walked through your door or went to, if you've got an online business, went to your storefront and looked at your actual products? Is that a number you're tracking? how many people are actually calling your office. Even with all this fancy technology that we have from internet things and instant messaging and Facebook messaging, all these different things, a phone call talking to a live person is still the highest closing opportunity that you are going to have. As a business owner, who's taking those calls? If you're one of my clients, you know how much I rail on that front desk position, that person that's on the front lines, because they have so much influence on your business, on the way that the public perceives how you do business, how honest you are. Of course, we all say that we're super honest and we love our customers, but it's the customers who say that. And how critical is that person on that front line, and how critical and how much responsibility are you giving that person? So they're your closer, they're your person, they're on your front line. You've got to keep track of that. But how many calls are you getting? And the last one is, how many actual sales opportunities are you having? One quick note on this. There's a huge difference between marketing and sales. If you don't understand the difference between those two things, you need to give that a little bit of thought. You might think that you have marketing and sales and it all kind of winds together, but that is not the case. There are things that you do, marketing, reputation, to get people to the door. Once they walk through the door, that's a sales job, and it's a different personality, and it's a different set of tactics and a different set of closing tools that you're going to apply to get that customer, that potential lead, to a sale. Okay, so the next part about knowing your numbers, and these are the two critical things that you need to know as a business owner. And again, I'm just blown away how many people don't know this instinctively about their business. But what is their customer acquisition cost? What is your acquisition cost? How much does it cost you to get somebody to actually buy your product? Is it $10? Is it $2? Is it 50 cents? If you don't know what that cost is, then you're crazy to set a marketing budget. You're absolutely nuts, because you don't have any way to measure how much that marketing budget is going to produce, how much that marketing budget is actually going to mean to you at the end of the year. You maybe look at gross numbers and say, hey, we did $500,000, we spent $1,500 on marketing, so we might be able to do the calculations. That's wrong. And here's why. Because the other number that you need to know is customer lifetime value. Do your customers refer people? Does one customer equal 3 for your business? Are you doing and taking the necessary steps to make sure that they convert into that? Is that customer a short-term customer? Is it only a purchase one time and then you never talk to them again? Or are you figuring out ways to increase the lifetime value of that particular customer? Now, I can tell you that if you're targeting the largest psychographic group within southern Utah, which is that Middleburg psychographic group, if you're targeting that group, you have a tremendous opportunity to have a repeat customer. Why? Middleburg profile are loyal. They're so loyal. And so if they find you as a customer and they were treated well and they liked your product, not only are they going to come back if you invite them back and buy something else from you, but they're also probably going to tell their friends. They're probably going to bring a few other people in, because that's the type of people they are. They're loyal, their family, their faith, and their country. That's what they're about. And so for the majority of you, for the majority of the members of the Chamber of Commerce, you're all about the Middleburg psychographic profile. And so you have got to figure out a way to increase that customer lifetime value, which leads me to the last point and the last key to doing business successfully in Cedar City. How well are you maintaining? How well are you nurturing? How well are you feeding your list of past customers? What are you doing? How are you communicating with them? I can tell you it's shocking to me, and as a marketer, it's just a giant kick in the gut that there's a huge list of past customers that just dies, that goes nowhere. It sits on some computer CRM or some file or some Excel spreadsheet, and nobody ever talks about it. All they're talking about is, how do we get new customers? What's this new marketing innovation that we have to do? Or what's this new media approach? Or my gut tells me that we ought to try this to be able to get new customers. You're crazy. You're crazy if that's the way that you're running your marketing and your business. There's a better way to do that. If you've been in business for a certain amount of time, if you have a list of past customers, even if your product is really just a one-time purchase type product, even if that's the case, if you're not constantly communicating to your past customers, you might as well be burning money, honestly. And if you're going to spend a bunch of money on a new marketing initiative, doesn't matter if it's Google PPC or the radio or TV or whatever, and you're going to do that without already talking to your past customers, you're crazy. You're nuts. And you're burning money. Don't do it. So how do you resolve that? How do you communicate them? The first thing is, and I hate to go back to this, but you've got to sync back up with your primary psychographic group that you are targeting. So let's take, for example, the Middleburg group. What do they love? We know they're tech savvy, okay? So we know that they're going to be checking their phone. If you're a restaurant, they're probably going to be checking Yelp or Google reviews or something about your business and about your food before they ever walk through that door. Now, if you impress them, they're probably going to leave a review, especially if you ask them to, and you need to be able to continue to speak to that person. You're probably not going to send them a flyer in the mail, okay? And you might be tempted to send them a monthly email newsletter, but for that particular psychographic group, they're probably not going to read their email either. And that's probably something that you've noticed before, and you've probably just thrown that away as an opportunity because I'm not going to send an online newsletter. So how do we speak to them on a more consistent basis, on a tech-savvy way that's going to communicate our brand and my passion as a business owner? How am I going to speak to them that's going to be successful? So I'm going to do that through social media. I'm going to do that through some other marketing techniques. If you go to, and some of you have seen this that have been to my other trainings, but if you go to my Iron Forge Media Facebook page, I've got a great training on there of how you can develop your social media into an effective campaign that is based on conversion, that's based on results. Okay, so that's definitely one way that I'm going to be speaking to that group. Now, I might need to make a phone call, right? I might need to run a promotion, a loyalty promotion to past customers. I might need to do these type of things to develop that stronger bond and stronger relationship with those past customers, especially if I've got a significant group. Now, for those of you that are like, I don't know what to do, we don't really track, you need to start looking into some organizational tools, many that are free online, that you can employ for your business to start keeping track of that list. And then once you have that list, you need to talk to somebody like me, and there's a million me's out there that you need to talk to develop a specific strategy to your past customers. If you do that, if you really target on those past customers, and it's a really fluid strategy, you're going to know, oh, I erased it, your acquisition cost. You're going to know the lifetime value of your customer, and it's going to increase because you know these things and because you're nurturing that list. Cedar City businesses, now is your time. Cedar City's economy is improving. You've got some fantastic resources here in Southern Utah. The Chamber of Commerce is ready and willing to help you as a business get through some of these stumbling blocks. If you had a business before the recession and you've just been kind of keeping your head above water and you don't really know what you need to do now that customers are coming back and it's ready to go to the next step, you need to take advantage of the tools that are out there. The world of marketing has changed dramatically in 10 years. It's changed dramatically in the last 2 years. If you're not taking advantage of those techniques and making them work for your business, man, I don't know how to help you. You've got to be able to take that step. There are many things that you can do, many resources that you can pull from, but you as a business owner or you as a manager, as a marketing person, you've got to find a way to develop that passion, create that message, and drive that home to your customers. Again, the 3 keys: knowing your market, knowing your numbers, and then nurturing your past list. I'm Mike Green with Iron Forge Media. You can find me at ironforgemedia.com. You can email me at mike@ironforgemedia.com. Like I say, I'm located here in Cedar City. I'm really grateful to be part of the Chamber of Commerce, to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce. It's a great honor to work with them and to utilize some of those resources. And that's it for our Facebook training today. I think the Chambers are going to be doing other videos in the future on this Facebook page. And so if you would give it a like and a share and kind of share your experience, if this was something that was beneficial to you or your business, share it with others. I'm sure the Chamber would appreciate it. Thanks.